independence. It's your girl, Sheera, SunShine, the goddess. We are going live today for Streams of Consciousness. My co-host will be joining soon. The topic today is lit. We always hear about like men being upset about the independent woman or whatever. So we're going to talk a little bit about today the difference between hyper independence and having a problem with your connections with other people and depending on other people versus God's energy, and just understanding that, you know what I'm saying, everything I need comes from within. So my co-host will be joining soon. Give me some time to hop on. You know, they be a little late. That's what they be saying about me when I be late. So I'm gonna say they be a little late. But I'm sure they will be joining us shortly. I hope everyone is feeling well today. I just want to send like some high vibrations and some well wishes out to you and some love. You know, if nobody has told you today, like, I love you and appreciate you. Oop, there's 7. Go ahead and get him in here as soon as his love request pops up. But yes, I do love you and appreciate you. And I'm happy that you were born, right? I appreciate that. Shout out to my friend Mother for that phrase. Like, truly happy to be a part of the collective and excited about this conversation today. Just a few moments to get people in. So you could say it's like, in case y'all couldn't tell, I might be feeling myself a smidge. Took a little extra time on today. 7, I see that you joined, but for whatever reason, I don't see your request to be in the video. So the Holy Ghost concept, which we talked about, works. They have desires, they have material desires. I sent you an invite to hop in. Who does have a body. And so the idea of the devil or whatever. So hey Ashley, how are you? I hope all is well with you. Hey Dirt, I got my people with me. That might be one. The concept of fame gets into people's minds. I hope you got the invite, 7. I definitely sent you an invite for you to join.
Hey.
Oh, well, we got one up in here. I don't know what the hold up is with everybody else, but it's good to see you, Dirt. How are you?
I'm blessed. How about you, beautiful?
I'm good. What you eating? Give me some. What you get?
Huh?
I said, what you eating?
Some pancakes and eggs.
I ain't jealous or nothing. I ain't jealous. You making it look good.
I would be cooking.
You got a little food on your lip and what have you.
I'm going to be cooking breakfast for you in about a couple weeks, so don't even worry about it.
Okay, there goes Adisa.
And if you want me to cook breakfast for y'all better show up to the sabbatical.
Period. Oh, the sabbatical's going to be lit. I'm so excited. I've been doing my little shopping for it, getting my little gear together. I can't wait to be around my tribe. Hey, come through with the come through. You looking good. I see you.
Over there glowing and stuff.
You know what I'm saying? Fresh glow. Big glow.
You know what? Scottsdale is doing something like miraculous for me. I'm telling you, I feel like the years that the cankerworm has stolen have been restored unto me again. Like, dead ass. Like, I'm living my best life out here. Like, bestest life. Can y'all see it in the fucking glow up?
Yep.
It's apparent that you are living your best life.
I am living my best life out here. Son,
I finally got you in.
Skin kissed and shit.
I said it coming and going and coming and going. I don't know what's going on with you, 7. Get your shit together.
You know how 7 be, y'all. Did anybody can the topic?
It might be because you're looking prettier than him today. He had to go get himself together.
You know what? I did have to increase my game. I ain't gonna lie. 7, you know, his feminine energy be on point, and I did have to increase my game. Because I'm not gonna let him come in here looking all more moisturized than the females on fucking live. No. He be looking all moisturized and shit, like brushing his teeth for 20 minutes and shit. I can't let 7 outdo me.
Girl, he was already flexing on us the last time with that 30-inch hair. I said, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody care about your hair. Apparently we do, because you see I went and got me some. I was like, I'm not gonna let 7 just sit up here and look more woman than every woman up on here. That, you know, he already flexing and shit. Talking about he got that good baby hair. You know, he a little bit of a snob. But listen, pin the topic. because today's going to be a good one, you guys. Today's going to be a good one. It's actually a continuation of last week's session. Seven said he sent another request, but it's a continuation of last week's session. We were talking about, like, I think Seven has started talking about, like, what hyper independence looks like in a woman, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit, because I like to, have my perspective seen. I do, because I think a lot of women are a lot like me, and I have a lot to offer, so I want to share it with you guys, okay? So let them get the topic all pinned here. Thank you.
You're giving a lot of feedback.
Hyper independence versus goddess in energy. Comment golden ticket. What you got on, a coat of many colors tonight? What you
I told you he had to go get cute, because he ain't had that on a few seconds ago when he first popped up. It didn't look like. I was fucking with you.
That ain't never stopped you. You walk around shirtless all day.
But that's on Zoom, I'm trying to,
Oh, okay. Oh, so we get the...
Yeah, he hop on Zoom in his robe. If you want to see Seven in his robe, come to class tonight.
Like, seriously, y'all... Listen, we get nighttime Seven. That's what we get. We get nighttime Seven, and y'all get daytime Seven, okay? That's what's happening. But Seven, you had mentioned something last week. And actually, you mentioned it on Monday. And you were talking about hyper independence in women and how that can be so unattractive, because I think the point we had made on our Monday night call is that we're asking masculine energy to be more intentional and what it desires out of feminine energy. And the men were saying, hey, we do not want to be seen as something that just gets you to your next transaction. We do not want to be seen as you only come to us for money. We are tired of being used like that. We are tired of being seen like that. And I told Seven that the answer to that energy that was sent out was the independent woman. She ain't gonna use you for a transaction. She gonna get her own. That's what she's gonna do. And then men were like, well, goddamn, now you bitches done went too goddamn far. You done went too far. And I was telling the guys, like, hey, look, make up your mind. Either you want us to see you and come for you and say, hey, we need you because we need help out in these streets. Provide for us, take care of us, make sure you have enough money for us. And if you don't want to do that, then we're going to use our own masculine energy to provide for ourselves. And then don't call us too independent. And Seven made a very great comment. He says, well, it's not that we want you to be too independent. We just don't like women that are hyper independent. So we wanted to take today's time to kind of expand on that and see what hyper independence means from a masculine perspective. And then we'll comment and tell you guys what it means from a feminine perspective. Now, I am a woman. And a lot of students of mine, they have the unique capability of actually going in and out of their masculine energy and their feminine energy. That's what makes us unique. We are not polarized like that. We know how to flow deeply into the masculine. I know I do. And I know how to flow deeply into my feminine. I know how to provide and protect myself. And then I know how to act like I don't have no hands. And I know how to do that shit too. And I make that shit fun. It's so fun for me. Yes. So Seven, explain or give us the definition of this hyper independent woman that you were referring to, sir.
By definition, I would say that it's independence in spite of rather than an independence for the cause of, right? And when I say that, I mean, I think that independence is a mindset that is developed most times from a foundation of trauma, right? It's a response to the lack thereof, whether it's, and God bless you.
Thank you.
It's a response to the lack thereof, whether that be support, love, real affection and understanding, providing materially, right? Like, I think independence is something that occurs in a human period when there is a lack of things or lack of resources. But I think hybrid independence is when that independence develops without any real love for a foundation or guidance, right? Because then it becomes this thing that is not, it's not flourishing water anymore. What do we call it before? We call it's a flood now, right? Now there is the support in love is now drowning, right, in these waters that are very powerful and could be nourishing, but they're uncontrolled. And it's happening in spite of, right? It's in spite of those things that it wasn't supplied in the beginning. So now when that independence comes to the surface, it's not being independent for the betterment of our household. It's not so that I can take a load off of you and play a better role in this relationship. It's because, fuck you, you wasn't there for me and I can do this shit myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show you just how much I could do this shit myself since you wanted to act like you didn't want to be here for me. You know, and that's the mindset and the place of heart that it's really coming from. And I'm a victim of that as well. I don't think that it's just women, right? Like we said, it's feminine energy. And when you don't feel supported, when you don't feel loved, when you don't feel safe, because I feel like everybody should be independent to a certain degree. Everyone should be self-sufficient, right, to a certain degree. But I think that's also where I think you either go one or two directions when your independence fully blossoms. You either become hyper-independent or you become interdependent, right? You end up grounding yourself in the value that you do have, and you're able to see that as a reflection in others, and you're able to give that back and forth. Now, all right, you're independent, I'm independent. So how can we do this together, right? But most times we're not guided into using our power that way. So our feminine energy consumes us as the consuming source that it is, and we become very hyper independent. We become it's that mindset of today's youth, and I think that society provides a lot of us on social media. They wasn't there for me. You know what I'm saying? When I was down, you ain't had me. What's the famous quote? Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. Right? Like that. I think.
Mike Jones.
You know, like that's the foundation for hyper independence, because it's in spite of. It's not to further things in a symbiotic manner. Right? So I hope my definition wasn't too long, but that's my perspective when it comes to hyper independence, just as a general topic.
We absolutely love your perspective. Absolutely love it. What did you have to say, Dirt?
I was going to say I love it because I always, when I listen to you guys explain things, I try to help myself understand it by making it make sense in my life. So, and I do that in the scenario that you painted. I just painted like, damn, you're absolutely right. Because when I first started working as a young man, I started working as a need. Like, okay, I needed to get this money to do for myself. And then it became like, ooh, I am doing it by myself. I don't need nothing. I don't need y'all. I don't need this. And then it transformed into, see, look, man, I've been working for so long. I've been holding myself for so long. I became dependent on having that job or having a job or a good job or multiple jobs for me. It wasn't even about what I initially got them for. It was, now I need these jobs to sustain this image or this persona that it makes me. It was a what you call it, a hyper dependency on just that feeling or that emotion, not really the benefits of the job. And had I had the understanding of it, like, okay, you initially got this to earn money to do what? So I lost the fact that, okay, you making this money, but what did you set out to do when you started to make this money? I just got so caught up in the act that I lost the initial purpose, the initial thing that I started to do. So you made a lot of sense for me, and I'm relating outside of a relationship, outside of somebody else. That's how it made sense to me, because I can relate it to my work, because my job was my first relationship. That was my first thing I fell in love with. That was my first whole thing. Cause I started working at 15, supporting myself at 17. So I can relate to that on that field of it. So I want to hear. That's good. I want to hear from a different perspective now, because you really just opened up my mind to look at it a different way.
You have a stream. You have a stream, Sunshine, that you can baptize these men in your waters. Because I got a powerful stream. I'm gonna baptize their ass in. So you want to?
Don't drown them, sis.
Don't. I'm gonna drown them. I'm gonna drown them because that's what I like to do. Okay. So you can go ahead and spread a little shower on them before I drown them. Okay.
Just a little sprinkle, you know what I'm saying? So for me, like when Dirk was talking, like my first love was he's now 16-year-old, right? I was 16-year-old when I got pregnant with him, and my mama was basically like, well, bitch, where y'all gonna live at? So I had to get out and get it, you know, and I had to take care of myself. My partner was a year behind me in high school. Like, he wasn't where he was living his best life playing football and, you know, still being a child, and I had to grow the fuck up and do what it is that I needed to do. So it was just kind of hard for me to get in a position of interdependence with anybody because, like, it was just us. Like, I was solely responsible for making sure that me and my baby was straight. So moving into a place where, okay, well, I can depend on this person for these things, you know, and feeling safe in that is difficult. You know what I'm saying? Even if it comes to like emotional support, and like now I find myself having a hard time calling somebody when I feel away because I'm like, you know what? Everything I need is within me. You know, I have a strong connection to source, and I don't need nobody. You know, but last week, you know, I needed somebody. I needed a distance to be there for me. I needed that personal coaching session for somebody to show me something outside of myself, and so that's why I'm kind of embracing interdependence. And Seven, when you were talking about how, you know, when we come into like this breadwinner state, we start to kind of shit on the people who we feel like wasn't there for us before. And I can remember a time, and I don't know if he's still on here, but my favorite baby daddy was on here. Like, we were struggling together.
Did you say, wait a second,
my favorite baby daddy? Yes, he's my favorite baby daddy.
You know what, sis?
We were struggling, you know what I'm saying, together, and then I finally got like this come up or whatever, and it was because of him. Like, he the one told me get on Craigslist and look for a job, and you know, I found it, whatever. But then when I came into this breadwinner position, I felt powerful as fuck, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of abused that power a little bit, and I let, you know, the money that I was making kind of go to my head, like, nigga, you need to wash these dishes and do this, because I was like, you know what I'm saying, I don't need this nigga. And it just kind of happened, you know, and it wasn't intentional. And it destroyed our relationship, you know. And in hindsight, I can see how I took on this more masculine perspective because I had more money, and I've kind of like grown out of that, you know what I'm saying, and started, you know, to value myself less based on how much money I'm making, right? Because that's where it started. It's like the value that I placed on myself had to do with what I could do for myself and how I could provide. And so once I started to see myself in like my intrinsic value, instead of saying, oh, well, my value that I have is based on what I can bring in and what I can do as opposed to just who I am, then I was able to extend that same thing to other people, and, you know, be a little bit more trusting of other people once I'm able to really trust myself. If I see myself as a safe space, it's easier to see others as a safe space and recognize that in other people. If I trust myself to take good care of myself, it's easier to trust other people. But, you know, just coming up as a young woman, like, I sometimes didn't know how to fuck who was gonna eat, and I didn't feel safe, and I didn't feel secure, and I didn't feel like I depend on myself or anybody else. But, you know, healing that and going through that, you know, has been a process of consistently evaluating my intentions, consistently evaluating how I value myself and others, and just the relationship and the balance between other people. So I just want to ask that, you know, you divine masculine counterparts, be patient with us, because we trying, but we got a lot of trauma to reverse, because those patterns that I saw in my adulthood, I saw those patterns in my parents as a child. You know, my mother's mother abandoned her as a young child. She had to be like 6 or 7 years old, and she didn't see her mama for 10 years. You know, she just kind of dropped her off somewhere. And so those patterns repeated in my mother. And at a certain point in her marriage, like, my dad went through some mental health things, and he just kind of fell off the face of the earth, and she had to do it by herself. So, like, I'm reversing generations of this pattern. So I'm just asking y'all to be patient with us. We trying. We trying. We want to trust y'all.
I want to say shit. We right there with you. You know, like, we're not separate from that struggle at all. You know, like, I think that Man, grace is something that we just gotta learn to give each other in every area. You know, I believe, yes, a high standard of accountability is necessary, right, in certain senses, but the grace that is necessary from both sides unto each other is so necessary, because the struggles that you're laying out, they don't just apply to women. I know lots of men who go through these things and have suffered the opposite of it, right? So it's like we all definitely healing together. And I just wanted to tell you, I hear you loud and clear. It touched me on so many different levels, for sure. And I just wanted to let you know that as a man, like, man, I think a lot of us are, while there is a large amount that needs to catch the fuck up, you know what I'm saying, and get with the program, I'm definitely an advocate for the men and women that are putting forth the effort and the love and the genuine intention and forgiveness in order to heal these things and move forward so that we can grow together. Because I think that's the most important part of it all, right? I think that's why we end up on this platform talking together. And sometimes we can, like, we play and we defend the parts of masculinity and femininity that because I think we sometimes, as public representatives, we like to speak for the people that are listening, right? But I definitely never want to get the narrative confused that we're here working together to heal these things and show each other that grace and that forgiveness and that guidance that we all lack in one area or another, right? Like, so, man, I just wanted to give you that for sure, because I really, really felt where you
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I just want to say this real quick before Coach just tear us a new one. But I like the fact that what Sister Sunshine was saying about just the growth and understanding, because I was getting my confidence, and I'm sure, and it's nothing like, I'm not knocking nobody, because we all are where we are. We all are who we are. But I used to get my confidence in my appearance, like making sure that I was well groomed, making sure that I had on some nice shoes and some nice clothes. And as long as I looked good, that's what gave me confidence. That's what made me know that, like, I know I'm something. I know I'm. And that investment that I was spending in that, after a while, it just was like, but the feeling that I get now, I'm making that investment into me internally. Like, I'm not spending the money on the clothes and the shoes. I'm spending the money on my mindset. I'm spending the money on coaching when I can. I'm spending the money on just development when I can. And the confidence that gives me is like, is different. So I just wanted to say, to just reiterate what you were saying, sis. Like, it's like when you understand and you learn and you do different, it just gives you a different feeling about yourself to go about different things, to give yourself that grace. Because it was a time where I was like, you was just foolish. Like, and you beat yourself up. Like, when you first come into awareness, you got to get over that part to where you beat yourself up and you be so mad at yourself. You be like, you was an idiot. You was this. You was, why was you so? But you got to understand it. Like, man, I was what I needed to be to survive. Like, mind you, you just got this information today, dumbass. Like, you didn't have this information 15 years ago. Now, if you had this information 15 years ago and was still doing that, then treat yourself like that. Then be mad at yourself. But don't be mad at yourself on some information that you just got 5 minutes ago that you're trying to process. So I had to go through that myself, because I beat myself up for a long time, because it was like, you should have knew better. You should have did better. But at the same time, it was like, but you just got this information. So I love how we are all growing together, and we just, it's beautiful.
Yeah, real tough.
So I wanted to highlight a comment real quick before you jump in. Shan Harris said, sometimes it's hard to wait to see if someone is going to show up.
Yeah.
I feel that. Like, the patience, the anxiety of, like, is this motherfucker gonna do their part? Like, that shit is heavy. It's hard, especially when it's like other people in the balance of that. Like, these kids gotta eat, you know? Like, is you is or is you ain't? So, okay, go ahead, Coach.
Now, speaking of what Shan said, I'm going to go into what I need to say and I'm going to answer her question. But before I do that, Sunshine, the way your titties is just wiggling on the fucking screen, I fucking love that shit, girl. Like, goddamn, that shit is amazing. I'm like, well, shit, can mine even like is the way your camera is positioned? Like, what the hell is going on? Okay, don't say no when y'all see my little B cups up here shaking too, because they gonna be shaking too. Okay, now let me get right into what Chandelier is talking about. Listen, you guys, Western society will have you believing that everything is like linear, everything is like a line, and most things are like circles. They are like circles. So once a woman, and I'm talking about, well, not a woman, feminine energy. The goal of feminine energy is to go from being the lamb to being the lion. The goal of masculine energy is to go from being the lion to being the lamb. Men need to be gentle, okay? They need to be gentle, okay? Now, when on my rise in femininity, in my rise in feminine energy, I had to learn how to take care of myself, because just like Seven said, the men in my life were not really present there for me. And then my daddy was there, and my daddy did take care of me, and my daddy taught me how to take care of myself, okay? Now, once a woman gets to that independent stage, there is an invisible lid, like a glass ceiling, and the alpha men then say, you cannot go above this glass ceiling at all. You cannot be equal to us. You have to be right here, and then we're going to be right here, because they think linear. They think in a hierarchy that goes from top to bottom, and you cannot be on the same rung as them. You cannot be beside them. So you end up being forced to either be hyper independent or be submissive. That is what's going on with women today. Okay? Now, when you are forced, let me repeat this, forced, because there is a ceiling. There is a ceiling. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. And now, if your independence is the furthest that you wanted to grow in life, then you go ahead and say, you know what, this is all I really wanted out of life. I done achieved everything that I wanted to achieve, and this man right here, he knows more than me. I'm comfortable where I am. So then you go ahead and you settle down with that alpha male. You go ahead and you do that shit. But then there are some women that say, being your wife is not going to be enough for me. I want to be your wife. I want to have your children. I want to come home and cuddle up to you in the bed, but my dreams are more than that. Can I have more than that? And men, because of their linear conscious thinking, they think this is the hierarchy. They don't think circle. And then the woman says, well, I'm going to have to leave you alone. And then the woman becomes hyper independent, because in order to get her to the next evolution where she can be that man's equal, because he ain't helping her. He's like, submit. He is like submit, because here's what he is doing unconsciously. He is hyper independent. The reason why he will not let her walk beside him is because he is hyper independent. Yes. He is hyper independent. Now, if you look at things in the secular fashion, it's independence, hyper independence, and then interdependent. See, there's another stage. There's another stage. See, there are some women, not all, but there are some women that have teen goals. Not all, but there are some women that have that. There are some women that say, I choose to be equally yoked. I don't want to be under you. I don't want to be ahead of you. I want to be walking straight beside you like the sun walks next to the moon. That is what I want. I want you to be in your feminine energy when you need to be, because you might be better in this particular energy, and I need to be in my masculine energy in this particular arena because I'm better at it. And we will go in between these energetic patterns, because we are more than just our sexes. I went into that hyper independent stage. Seven, when you were talking, like, you have a way of just like shooting your energy all over me and stuff, and I'm like, and I'll go ahead and process, and I'm like, man, he's right. But then I had to explain why that stage is. You see, when you go from that independent stage and the men are your ceiling, and you want to get to the next level, your needs change. And you start saying things like, yeah, there used to be a time where I would call you and say, hey, you know what? In order to grow up or glow up in my business, I need $600. I can act defenseless. There used to be a time I could not ask for help. I'm not in that at all. I know that I'm not in this alone. I know that men want to give unto my bosom. So I'm not in that stage where I can't ask for your help, where I'm being independent from a source of pain. I can ask. And now I'm asking, and I'm not asking for $600. I'm asking for $6,000. Because my needs are different. Now, when a woman gets to this level, then the men that want her to submit to them, they cannot help her. They cannot. It's one thing to ask, and let me just go ahead and be real, because I want to really clarify the feminine perspective. I really want to do that, okay? Because men do the same thing. We're on the top. We're rich. What can a woman offer us? That's hyper independence. Kevin Samuels is hyper independent like a motherfucker, and he is seen in his hyper independence as a high value man. That's what he's seen as, and millions of men follow him and their hyper independence. But then they're sending out that energetic charge, and then when the 3D reality in their women mirrors that, they say, "Don't you be like us," and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Because I want to be your partner. That's what I want to be. When you fall, we're not going to fall, because I'm going to keep standing until you can stand up beside me. That's what I'm going to do, because I'm a warrior just like you are. That's what I am. So then when you get to the point in your femininity, when you need to call a man and really need his help, and you don't need his help, like, I mean, it's nice, but like, I'm glad that you opened this door for me. I really, really am. I'm glad that you shut it. I'm glad that you took out the trash. But homeboy, where's this $6,000 that I need? Where's that? And then when a woman gets on that level, she starts looking for interdependent men. She's not looking for and then she stops being hyper independent. The stage where I am now, I understand in order to have my equal, he has to be marriage minded. Do y'all know I couldn't even spell marriage without trying to gag a little bit, because I was trying to get married to hyper independent men, and I knew that I would die spiritually if I married any one of them. But now I'm looking for a man that wants interdependence, a man that is not afraid of me making my own money, a man that if I need $10,000, he can give me that. And then that makes my circle a tad bit like all the men that want me to submit. You're not in my circle no more. Because in order to be in my circle now, you have to be able to provide more if you want me to submit. I'm not going to, because what men are telling us to do when women are independent, and women have learned how to be more, feminine energy has learned how to be a better man than most men. Let me just go ahead and say this again, because I know that it's gonna hurt people's feelings. But in this world today, feminine energy has learned how to be a better man than most men.
And vice versa.
Yeah. Ooh, yes. I love that. And men have learned to be more nurturing than feminine energy. And I understand that. So there has to be a balance. And if I, as a woman, can figure out how to be nurturing to my child and how to use my masculine energy to take care of myself, don't limit me by saying you need to submit. No, submission comes naturally after surrender. There are some men that I'm going to naturally surrender to. And then the flow of submission is authentic. Think in a circle. If you catch a woman that's hyper independent, encourage her to evolve into that next level, which is interdependence. And she has to start seeking, you just got here. Okay. Yes. You then have to start seeking that equivalent in men. And like, let's be honest, when it comes like me, I'm gonna be honest, as a melanated woman that loves chocolate men, Lord Jesus, they so fucking addictive, Jesus. But as a black woman that loves chocolate men, When I look for interdependence in a mate, I'm not seeing that much of it in black men. I'm just not. And I didn't want to look outside of my race, but it's like, shit, goddamn. Because I'm still seen as being feminine with a man that can provide a lot more for me than I can for myself. See, I'm not seen as hyper independent by him at all. He see me as a needy bitch because I be like, oh, I need 25 G's. And it be for real, because I do. So but I have a heart to restore black families. I do. Because like I said, I fucking love black men. So do I kill my dreams or do I kill my ambition? What do I do in order to keep the black family together? Because I damn sure ain't submitting to no high value ass man so he can hate me talking about submit, bitch, and kill your dreams. That ain't happening.
One thing I want to touch on, because if I'm not mistaken, shit, if we just laying shit out, you the whole point of this shit, you was talking about Jake's post, right?
No.
No?
No.
Nigga. Alright.
Did you just come
last week? And it might just be a coincidence. But last week, like a couple hours before we went on live, Jake basically posted. He was like, "What can a woman, offer me that I can't go and purchase?"
You know what? Jake and I be in sync. We be
yeah. That's why I was like, "Oh,
because we talk." So it might have been some conversation.
When you talked about that, you cited that perspective as being hyper independent, and I strongly disagree.
Tell me again.
I don't think it's him. I don't think from that perspective, it's a message that he preaches often for the past year or two. So that's why, I'm like, she got to be talking about that, because I ain't never heard nobody else say that shit.
Say what?
Everything that we talked about, from what can women offer me to putting value on who they are intrinsically to shit, just everything we talked about the last.
Oh no, all of my clients talk about that.
But you also speak to men that are like that, so that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And that's also a client of yours.
Yeah.
But publicly, this is a man who says that often, and that's definitely, I'm pretty sure we're all three of us. Am I tripping, Dirk? Was you thinking that shit too?
No, from Monday, that's what I thought we was talking about.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah. Just making sure the rest of us, I'm not tripping. All right. So from that perspective, I didn't take it as him being hyper independent. I felt like it was just a
but I'm not even speaking about his perspective, because I really don't know what his perspective is.
It's literally everything that we're talking about.
Tell me this perspective so I can understand.
So basically, he just lays out. It was a series of tweets like he does, and
is this the perspective of most men or just him? I want the perspective of most men.
Nah, this is definitely most men. Am I
okay? Let me hear it. Go ahead, Seven.
Can you hear me, Derek?
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
No.
When I say okay, I just want to make, because you as a man, so I can't just say that by myself. But he was just saying that in his position, and what he's seeing also just from a man's perspective, is that women will present things like the cleaning, like fucking them, like all of these things that he's saying we can buy. We can buy that. You know what I'm saying? So what can you provide? So I don't think that was him being hyper independent. I felt like it was more so him just commenting.
Oh no, I don't consider Jake hyper independent
I'm not
at all.
talking about Jake. I'm just talking about that perspective, because you just cited that and then you called it hyper dependent.
Okay.
What you just said was when a man is saying, "What can you offer me?" and shit, because a lot of the things that we're as men, and I thought this is what he was talking about, we're as men, we're cited as only having material things to offer, right? Like I wouldn't say it's never, because I think high value women do comment on this, because I've heard it. But generally speaking, there is not an embracing demeanor towards men that offer value that is intrinsic, right? Like most of men's value is placed on their monetary or physical value. Right?
So what's that saying? Like the women started it by saying, what can you do for me that I can't do for myself? And then men said, well, what can you do for me that I can't buy? And I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying, like, that's the other perspective of that. Like, we always talking about, I could do that, nigga can't do nothing for me that I can't do for myself. And so men are like, okay, well, what can you do for me that I can't go and purchase?
Exactly. And I'm not saying that anything else that you said was off, but when you cited that perspective, and you literally said, what can a woman do for me? You said that was hyper independent. And I didn't feel like it was hyper independent. I felt like they were just saying, like, the value has to be very much so symbiotic, because in order for now, and that's not saying that a man must have so much intrinsic value because he has money. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like I said, like, also we're seeing that you're not responding to that, because that's the coincidence is crazy. Because that's exactly,
but I tell you what, now since you didn't tell me, I'm gonna call him, and I need to hear that perspective from him, because
Jake been preaching that shit for like ever since I've known him. He's like, man, women often give us this, well, if you don't got money and you don't got this and you don't got that. But I literally watched them have to kind of navigate certain things, like, all right, I don't need you to clean, I got a maid. I don't need you to cook nothing, I got to cook.
You know what's throwing me off?
Anything. So then, what else can you give me? You know what I'm saying? And I felt like that was him seeking interdependence, right? Like, if my purpose is, and I'll just use him as a case in point, right? If my purpose is financial education and financial freedom, if that's something that I've accomplished, and I can educate you into that, and bro is great at offering intrinsic value, but I think he feels that and I agree, and just from like the certain perspective that he's speaking from, I can agree. And even from high value women, I feel like high value people in general have this problem. Like, I don't think it's just women, but I think a man was saying it, so we're calling it a masculine perspective right now, right? But he was just like, I don't gotta say it over and over again, but it was just more so, what can you provide me that is intangible versus like all of the things that I can give? And I think that's a very, very true point, period. Whether you're a man or a woman, the only value that is real is the value that is intangible in my eyes.
I agree with you. Here's what I want to say, and I'm gonna have to get with Dr. Jacobs and figure out, because like, seriously, the kind of women that, like, because most women that I know, y'all be acting like it's a bunch of wealthy men out here. Most women that I know date broke men. I seriously, like, I'm like, most men don't have no money to speak of. Like, I'm just gonna be dead ass real about this shit. And I know that every man that I have loved ain't really had no money. So, I want to know, who are all these women that's only saying we want men from? I'll be honest with you, I only know one. I
ain't gonna lie, man. I know a lot, and I don't know that many men without money. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my life. Like, all the men I know get bread. So I don't really come into contact with too many broken.
Well, there's some lies going on somewhere. And that's what I was just about to say.
I think a lot of those women who are saying the things that they say about having a nigga with money is the same bitches who dating broke niggas.
I think so too, because
that sounds very true.
Something is off.
That sounds very true. But I think also, though, a lot of times we're speaking to these quote unquote societal norms, right? And we're not getting to speak to every individual case by case. These are narratives that are being pushed through social media.
So what you're saying is
general narratives that people think are like a widespread mindset. But just like you're saying, from someone who coaches individual people, like, shit, the numbers that I'm dealing with are you bitches dating broke motherfuckers. So I don't understand how this is a generalized thing, and that I think that's something that really needs to be addressed more so than anything. How we're taking these false narratives and implementing them into our lives as reality, when we know damn well it's falsehood, and just how much that's truly affecting our own internal development, because they spark conversations like this for people like us that want to help, right? And the only way that we know to speak to the masses is taking the perpetuating unto each other. But then how can we really help if all y'all giving us is some bullshit? All y'all giving us is a complete illusion. Because you saying you want a rich nigga, but all the niggas that you've been dating for the past 5 years been broke. Like that's a steep crossroads.
That's good, Seven. Now that's good because what you're talking about is authenticity versus ego consciousness. And one of the things that I preach, and like there was a man on here, I don't know what his name is now, but I'm gonna go ahead and address him because he addressed me first. Big Bobby Boob, the boss, or something
Big
like
Boss
that.
Bobby, somebody. It's one of Seven's friends.
One of Seven's friends. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and address that.
Shara, you be holding me so much.
Because you deserve it, Seven. But listen,
That's what sisters are for.
yeah.
You know what? I deserve it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna come back to that later.
Now, the women that I deal with, all of them. I have a classroom full of women that are not after men for no money. A whole classroom full of them. And I have a whole classroom full of women that value men's intrinsic value with no money at all.
What's your youngest student's age?
Girl or man?
Female.
23.
23.
Yeah.
You say that about her as well? Like in particular?
Yeah.
Okay.
You say it about her.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that. Damn, I didn't want to put nobody's name.
Okay. Yeah.
But okay, no, I wanted to ask that because I'm gauging, because I feel like women over a certain age, right, like their perspectives have matured, right? But I think most women who are
when you talking about women, you talking about young girls?
Females. I'll just say females.
Okay.
Like, I ain't even finna get into the categorization of something I'm not a part of.
Okay.
But most females that are highly susceptible to these societal narratives, I wanted to ask that because I feel like some of them might just be a lot earlier in their development. So that's all I was asking.
That's the difference between hyper independence and goddess energy. To whoever this young man is that says I can get a maid to cook and escort and we good, I agree. You should go and buy all those things because I got shit I need to do. And listen, I got way too many things that I need to be doing and my impact can be given into the world. So yes, go ahead and hire somebody to do all that stuff because that's not what a wife is for. That's what an employee is for.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So a lot of these things, the things that I need a man for are not his money. You want to know the number one thing that I would even consider marrying a man for? Only one fucking need. Somebody that I can process this world with and 5D consciousness. That's it. To not walk around alone in this 3D reality without a person whose spirit that I can 1,000% connect to. A person that knows my light side but loves my fucking dark side. That is the reason why I consider getting married. Him buying me a car, him buying me a house. He could be fucking broke because if he gets with me, we gonna make some money together. Now, do I want him to be broke? Hell, fuck no. But he could. That's what I'm saying. That is not hyper independence. It's saying, hey, I came here with a fucking goal, just like you came. There are women that come into existence with visions too. I know. There are so many people that think that only a man can have a vision. No, women can too. Because you need to understand, just like the moon rules the nighttime, the sun rules the day. And in order to balance the family, that is the perspective of interdependence that needs to be embraced by collective consciousness. This high value shit, I hate the fucking terminology, to be honest with you, because I don't like the energy that it stemmed from or the person that even coined the fucking term.
Who coined the term?
I don't know, but I ain't liking the energy of it.
I thought that was literally saying I don't like
I just wanted to speak a little bit to so Bobby came in on a part of the conversation like right when you were saying that women basically have mastered masculinity more than a lot of men. And I mean the truth is Black women, we out earning y'all. We out earning y'all. It was set up for us to out earn y'all, and we are out earning y'all. And that is what she was speaking to, as far as like we didn't figure it out. We being more masculine than y'all are. Like we didn't figure out how to make them braids. We figured that shit out. Like give us it.
Yeah, because men are saying that's what defines masculinity. What we can provide, how much money that we have. Well, if that is what determines what a man is, then shit, women are doing that.
Yeah.
So don't.
I'm just listening, and I've been sitting and listening and sitting and listening, and the main thing that I'm picking up is we have been out of balance, and we have been forcing ourselves out of balance to meet what Seven has been saying, this stereotypical or the society standards. We have been purposely forcing ourselves out of balance to be more masculine or to be more feminine or to be more whatever, as opposed to just letting ourselves be everything, be all of that. It's okay to have them both. But no, if you're a man, you got to be 100% masculine. If you're a female, you got to be 100% feminine. As opposed to, no, just be yourself. Be all of that, because all of that is in you. So we have been, like I said, forcing ourselves to be against our nature. So, yeah, we out of control at this point, because we don't even know that we all are supposed to have these characteristics. So now, when there is a feminine man, oh, something must be wrong with him. When there is a masculine woman, oh, it must be something wrong with her. As opposed to, no, they just haven't found the balance. They haven't learned how to balance. We have never been taught to balance. We either been taught you too much of this or you too much of that. You don't need to have none of this or you don't need to have none of that, as opposed to having a balance. So that's what I'm hearing.
I got a question for you, Adisa.
Go right ahead, Stephanie.
Damn, that shit is huge. I just had the biggest butterfly fly through my window. Like, that was crazy. Wow. I know we speak from our perspectives a lot, but I do know, I would say no, but I've spoken with a lot of women.
I can't hear you, Seven.
A lot of women.
Start over, because you running that hotline over there and we didn't hear nothing you said when old girl was calling you.
Low battery. Good God. She just be...
I'm just trying to make sure we hear your question.
Nah, I'm just saying, I've spoken with a lot of women who, you speak from a visionary leading woman's perspective, right? And that's not the majority of women, right?
And that I figured that out too.
So when we're speaking to women, I just want to make sure we're offering as much value as can be offered, right? And while there are definitely women that will take in and process your perspective as their own, I want to make sure we're helping as many people as possible. And I think that a lot of women, they don't necessarily have the guidance or proper information or maybe example, or there's something lacking. Because like we've highlighted so much on this live, the value is often placed on monetary components on both sides, whether it's the male or the woman. That's where the value is primarily seen, right? And I feel like when the woman, if that is what you value, right? If you're looking for a man that has that type of value, I think there is an education that should be had on how to provide value to someone like that, because not all women are going to go make big amounts of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, not all men, right? So I'm even speaking to just both sides that might be playing either side of this equation. But what are some of the pieces of humanistic value and spiritual and mental value that one can offer intrinsically to just be a good partner, rather than having to have either of these values that we've all like declared, like, I mean, having money is cool, but that's not what high value is, right? But now if you're seeking someone and you may not have these skills, right? Maybe flourishing fiscally or financially, right, isn't your thing. And I know there are a lot of people that's like that, both men and women. But I see that in relationships that are successful, where one partner may be really successful financially, the other partner offers so much intangible value. Like, the person that is getting the money and doing, they have this perfect environment of love and support, and so does that other person. Like, even though they might be super busy getting the money, like, I've watched people grow, and I feel like we've even seen a lot of these men who are growing to understand that shit, tending to your family, tending to your woman while still chasing this purpose and getting this money is equally, if not more important, right? So I want to hear your perspective on speaking to the women that might not be trying to, hey, I'm right here with you, but they just trying to be a better partner, and they want to know the different forms of value that they can supply both to themselves and their relationship. You know, like, I just want to hear your perspective on that. And I know, like, it's very, like I said, to speak from our own perspective, but to women that want help in that area, because you often say, hey, if that ain't what you want, then cool, right? You know what I'm saying? So to the women that's like, nah, that's not what I want. I just want to be the best woman that I can be for me, my family, and my man. You know what I'm saying? I want to know your perspective on that.
Well, Seven, I know the kind of women that I'm called to, and I know that you have been trying to get me consistently to broaden my range of the women that I speak to, and I'm battling with that, because, to be honest with you, the way that you see me as a visionary woman, I'll be honest, most of the women that I deal with, that tends to be how they are, and the kind of women that these high value men are seeing, the ones that they dealing with, I'm like, wait a second, why in the world are you even engaging with it? It don't make no sense to me. Why? But I know what it is because these women spend their time investing in their looks. That's what they do. They spend their time investing in the humanity of femininity, and that's what masculine energy is saying it wants. So if a woman spends all of her time and she's saying, I want a man with money, then that's what she's going to do. She's going to spend her time getting her face laid. She's going to spend her time on her wardrobe. She's going to spend her time on her clothes and on her toes and taking care of herself, because she understands that men, that's how she gets them. So then, if that's the energy that you're putting out, you can't get mad because she wants you for your money, because that's what it took for her to get you. She's not going to stay with you if you can't keep her up, because that's what you really want. That's what you're saying, I want. And if you didn't want that, you would stop going after it. So it's unfair. It's unfair to say energetically, I want a woman that looks like this, can take care of herself. Do you know how much time, a free time, that a woman must have to do all of that? Yeah. She has to have I am a work from home mom. I spend, like, during this season where I'm slowing down and I'm transforming my looks, it takes time to do that. And as I'm slowing down, it's like, okay, but I got a business to run. I need my money to go up. But in order to sink into all of this feminine energy that I am, I have to slow down. So now I need help. If I want to be all, you're saying, okay, well, what, based on humanity, can a woman offer to a man? If you want the looks and you want a woman that doesn't want you for your money, then you're going to have to provide her with some income so she can slow down and transform. Because the heart she has spent all of her lifetime working on. And the woman that has spent all of her lifetime working on her heart, she may not necessarily look the way you want her to look. Yeah. And that's why you're seeing the wrong kind of women, because your eyes keep going for the wrong kind of woman. Yeah. And that needs to stop. And for this young man, because we're going to get off of here, named Bobby, that wanted to come on this platform, that this is me right here, and tell me that I'm teaching wrong. Listen, you respect Seven, and I appreciate that. I want a million more like you to respect Seven. I do. And you are absolutely right. He is an amazing coach. But I'm the person that speaks in his ear. So you can go ahead and keep listening to him, but just know that I'm whispering in his ear. So I ain't that far off. Okay,
real quick, though. I know we got to get out, but you didn't answer my question.
They need to come to class, Seven.
That's what I was going to say.
They need to come to class.
Let me clarify your question.
Yeah. They need to come to class.
right.
Like all these women, because maybe you found them, maybe you know where they at.
It ain't even that. It's just something that I feel like needs to be spoken to. Because I feel like, case in point, Dirt, does your wife have her own business?
Yes and no. She has one now. She's starting one.
Exactly. But like, you guys have a relationship where y'all are partners, right? And that y'all are pushing people to like pushing each other to do more. But I feel like there are women that are in a different position than what we're speaking on. Like
I agree
the
with you.
societal narrative is women that's chasing niggas with money and blah blah blah. But there are a lot of women that are just simply married and want to be better and offer more value.
That's Cleopatra's Keys. That's Cleopatra's Keys. And Dirk's wife does attend that classroom.
I'm not talking about his wife, but all right, I'm done.
Nah. I hear what Brother Seven saying, but and just from having been married to my wife for almost 13 years and seeing other relationships and just knowing women and just knowing people and just learning a lot about myself, the thing is, they're just looking and wanting something that they know that they can feel good about themselves doing. Everybody desires more. Everybody has a deep feeling in their self to do more, but when you may want to just feel good about something, then you're going to settle and you're going to you're going to be like, okay, as long as I can do this, I'm cool. But deep down inside, you really want to do this. You know damn well you wanted to try this, you wanted to see how this made you feel, you wanted to do this, but you just going to be like, as long as I can do this, but you're dying inside. So for that wife that you're talking about, Seven, for that woman that you're talking about, she may say she just wants to make sure everything else is taken care of, but she had a call and she was born with something that she's supposed to be doing other than just watching babies and raising babies. So I'm not going to sit here and say that there's a woman out there that just deep down inside, that's all she really wants. Hell no. That's all she's settling for.
I wanted a woman to kind of say her version of that, but hey, Cleopatra.
If you wanna, okay, seven. If you want a woman to say her version of that, listen, it's 12:02. We're gonna go until 12:06. We're gonna answer Seven's question. I wanted to answer it tonight in class tonight. Listen, if you want to come to class and watch Seven and I go in, because we're gonna go in some more. We battle. That's what we do. I advise you to type in the comments golden ticket. Type that into the goddamn comments, right? And you will see us continue the conversation. But let me answer Seven's question, because I have been in that position. I haven't always been an entrepreneur. I've been a wife for most of my life. I've been a wife. Since the age of 17, a wife. That's what I've been. That's all I knew. And when I was in that position, all I wanted more than anything in life was not my dreams. I wanted to make my husband happy. That's my truth. My biggest dream out of all the infinite dreams was one, to make my husband happy. And it was nothing fucking wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So what I did is I transformed myself. You see, just like the moon can transform itself and have different phases and stuff like that, it's a changeling. A woman is too. So I changed myself to fit his specifications. I allowed him to be the God in my life, and I allowed him to make me in his image. That's what I did. Unfortunately for me, and unfortunately I believe for most women, we all have God consciousness, and no woman is supposed to be made in the image of her husband. So you're asking me to help her understand how she can stay happy in that, and I'm telling you, I don't believe that there is a way. I almost murdered myself trying to make my husband happy and to keep my family together. If it meant he wanted extra wives, I gave him that. I went out there and found them. I don't know of another woman that's willing to go to the lynch that I went through to make a man happy. I went out and found him a fucking 28-year-old badass bubble butt virgin. That's what I did. I found him 3 fucking women. So I know without a shadow of a doubt the length that women are willing to go through to stay married and keep their families together, because I went through them. But I will not advise any woman to stay focused on that when her soul is dying. I know also in that marriage, while I made my husband my idol, I was dying spiritually. And God is not mocked. And the God source within me hated what I was doing. And it showed that it hated what I was doing because my looks started going down. You ever see women get married and they was bad? They was hot than a motherfucker before they got married, and then once they get married, they looks start going down. They don't have no time to take care of themselves. They in Walmart with house shoes on, with a hunch in their back, with vomit on this shoulder. Listen, a woman is supposed to be glorious. And most women I'll be honest, the fucking glory has vanished because they've given all of it to a man. And that might make the man happy, but here's the problem. That little depressed woman that gave up all her dreams for you, she having your children. What kind of consciousness do you believe she's bringing in? Yeah. You want to ask her what a woman can bring to you that you can't buy? She's going to determine the consciousness level of your child. How about that? Can you purchase that?
Yeah.
You can? You can purchase consciousness. How can you, Seven? Please tell me.
Nah, you can't purchase the consciousness, but you can purchase a lot for how your baby gonna come out. You purchase a lot.
Really?
Hell yeah, what?
Yeah, how you? That's gonna have to be another conversation.
Yeah,
because what I found from having children, is that them motherfuckers end up having the same fucking sins and the same iniquities and the same things that their parents is dealing with. That is what I have found. And what I have found to cure that is when their parents start working on that shit, then it is very easy to fix it in the child. That is what I have found to be true. But if you believe that we can buy a child's consciousness, please tell me, because there's some things in Yakin right now that I know comes from his father that I'm dealing with. And thankfully, I loved his father for so long because it makes it easier to deal with. That's why you got to love these men, because when you have their children, it's going to be hard to love their children if you don't love these men. But if you can, let's talk about that tonight. If you can tell me some kind of way.
Literally saying you can't buy consciousness, you can just buy a lot of other shit. You be getting rolling and you stop listening to shit. It's amazing.
You know what, Seven?
Also,
Seven, you're not gonna do that to me. You know what, Seven? I'm gonna fight the hell out of you tonight. Tonight, me and you fight. Do you hear?
Come to class.
Come to class, because
like I said before, you be speaking from your perspective.
Spicy.
And my question was,
you be getting spicy on the line when you think people up in here watching you, and I'm gonna have to chop you down at the neck. Because I can't.
You
just
know
in case
way
you
better
forgot.
than that. You know way better than that. I'm regardless of whoever the fuck is watching. So your words, they gotta move right when it comes to that.
Because I feel like I feel like you're trying to.
How can a woman in that position be a better partner? And what you laid out was your experience and other women that are having that experience. That's not what the fuck I'm talking about.
Okay, well, what is
what I asked was how, because a woman, that's you sacrificing your spirit and all that. That's not you being a better partner.
I agree.
So that answers my question, woman. Once again, you spoke from your perspective, and I'm trying to get you to answer a question.
So can I clarify the question? Your question's been so complicated, Sarah. You talking in circles and shit trying to ask the question. I just directly asked your question. What he is trying to, like, when you're wanting to be someone who can provide for themselves. I know, right? Because now it's freezing and shit. But when you're wanting to be in a position with someone who can provide for themselves and who doesn't need anything monetarily from you, and they have all of the money in the world and they can buy whatever the fuck they want, what do you bring to the table that adds value to your partnership and adds value to the relationship?
Okay, so
but I'm not even saying like with the men that make money, because like we already established, there are a lot of women that are listening that don't make as much money.
Well, help me clarify the question, because I did give you my personal experience, because that's what's closest to me.
Exactly, but I know what you have to offer in this arena, which is why I'm trying to get you to answer this question.
Okay.
Because what I'm really just asking is how can people be better partners? And I know I really have a great idea how you would answer it, but I know from your perspective it's so powerful. You know what I'm saying? And I love you. Hey, if you want to get the answer to this question, come in the class tonight. Because I'm gonna get this shit out of her today.
One way or the other.
You know we boxing tonight, right?
Oh man, I'm gonna move the fight. I'm gonna fuck you up.
What fuck me up? I'm ready.
I bet.
I'm gonna fuck you up.
Come
clutch my legs, girl, when I get done. I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm with all the bullshit today. Let's get it.
Let's bring it, Seven. Bring it, because you know what? A bitch ain't been fucked up in a long motherfucking time. So I'll do any goddamn way. So go ahead and bring it.
The fact
If y'all
you just got excited.
I did. You know that
Do
shit.
y'all see this woman?
Seven, you know I like that shit. Seven, you been playing games with my emotions. I'm not gonna play with you no more. Seven, as soon as this live is ended, I'm gonna call you and cuss you the fuck out. That's what's gonna happen. Listen, y'all. We absolutely Seven been playing my. You see what he been doing?
I know, right? You said that you want somebody that you can, be in this experience with and all that 5D shit, but I think you really just want a sparring partner. Shit, I just want to sharpen mine.
All the time. I take out my ass. I really just want somebody to.
Seven. That's intimate conversation. Seven. That's Seven.
Bruh. That's
Really,
intimate
dude?
conversation. All right, I'm gonna go find a fucking recording where you already
Don't say that all the time.
You say it all the time, bro.
You know
and
what?
You see how you try to do me? You try to make me seem like I'm doing some hoe ass shit. When your girl she say it all the time. Why do you do me like that?
Seven. Boo. You know I love you, right? Seven. Listen, I'm gonna do right by you in class tonight because I value you. And my day would not be as awesome and adventurous and if you weren't here for me to fight with, because fighting is my love language. I ain't gonna lie about it, but I don't want you to be saying that on screen. Don't say that on screen, Seven, because other people gonna try to fight with me and then I'm gonna burn them up.
I think that's a wonderful thing though, because motherfuckers gotta know where their strength really lie at. Like everybody can't hop in a dream and throw these blows.
Nah.
It's actually very, very few people in the world, you know what I'm saying, that can hop in an arena like this and do any type of combat, whether it's sparring or war. So I think it's a great thing for us to do that in front of people because people should know what it takes. Like it takes real experience. It takes a heart-centered approach. It takes real years of healing and seeking knowledge in order to hop in this arena and have these conversations. So I think that's imperative.
I think so too. And this example that we just literally just played out in front of people, see, it could have went left any given time because I got an attitude sometimes, and then I know that you be having an attitude sometimes. But it was our love for each other that keeps us grounded in making the decisions that uplift one another instead of tear one another down. And that's because even with you, Seven, when you get into the ring with me, even in that case, you are my partner. And I want to be a good partner. I don't want you to leave feeling like, and that's why I'm that bitch. That's why. Because for me,
when you can get her to just say some shit straight up, good God, you get God-like gems from her.
Seven, I don't want them seeing me all like that.
Nah, Coach, because it's the truth, though.
Your objective perspective serves the collective way more than your subjective.
Okay.
Completely.
Keep me in that then. Keep me in that, Seven.
When you separate yourself and you look at the whole and tell us what you see and what you think, that should be so on point. But it's very easy in this safe space to get into a flow of saying how we feel and the things that we've gone through. I know I get in that shit all the time, and I always be trying to stop myself. I'm like, oh, hold on. But you have so much knowledge and experience and such a foundation and a spirit of service. So when I'm trying to ask a very direct question, it's never to demean anything that you ever have to say or give us. But I know that when you are objective, you give spiritual scientific knowledge, to where it's irrefutable. You know what I'm saying? Versus
tell me that, Seven.
When it's your perspective and your experience.
His battery probably died. He was saying he had low battery.
And we've been out here for an hour and 30 minutes at this point. So y'all can love on each other tonight in class after y'all fight again.
Yeah, I'm going to call him right now. We finna fight.